podcasting since 2005. This is the King of Podcasts radio network, kingofpodcasts.com.
An OnlyFans model puts up a billboard looking for a sugar daddy, and it's not Bonnie Blue.
We're all a little depraved and debaucherous. Here is the king of podcasts.
Enjoy that new music right there, the new theme music of the Depraved and Debaucherous program for the courtesy of kingofpodcasts.com. I actually started the episode and I got about 15 minutes in. Wasn't sounding that good anyway, so good thing I wasn't recording it. Kind of just missed that. Anyway, we're recording this now. Tonight, another girl decides to go down the route of Bonnie Blue because she's doing a publicity stunt just to get clicks and subscriptions to her OnlyFans page. And it has helped her now to the amount of $100,000 a month. She's making on OnlyFans. So the young lady we're talking about this time is not Bonnie Blue, but in fact, Shianne Foxx. So she's from Australia in the area of New South Wales, that particular province. So she was there's a billboard that she had made in one of Australia's wealthiest suburbs in the lower north shore of Sydney. The suburb was called Mosman. And she has on the billboard this young blonde, buxom bombshell of a girl in her underwear with a short message, quote, "Are you rich, old, and lonely? I'm looking for a sugar daddy." And then it shows the phone number and the name Shianne Foxx. Shianne, if you're going to look for it. She's 22 years old. And she spent $2,000 on a billboard. And it got her 300 text messages from people responding to the ad and 2,000 calls, including a rich guy with one leg. Now, when she got into the vetting process of who decided to go and write to her about being her sugar daddy, she had a rule that she says before going on any dates, to vet the finances of potential suitors and to ensure her safety, that she asks for a screenshot of their bank balance first, then asks them to send pictures of their house and then do a FaceTime call. Well, I'm sorry, Shianne, that's going to be easy for any guy to go ahead and kind of fake that. It's pretty easy to go ahead and get away with that and not show the real thing. Just saying. So this risque purple billboard was on a mobile truck, and it got all the kind of things you were expecting: outrage, humor, bemusement. And that's what happens. She says critics that reached out to her were not as hot as her. She's unrepentant over the pearl clutching she might have caused. And she says that people that are criticizing her are just haters who hate their lives working 9-to-5 jobs. And she wanted to go and pick her target market to get the right attention to the right type of man. Because she's looking for somebody who's 60 and over with a good income and a Waterford home. She says, "I want to have unlimited access to a sugar daddy's credit card so I don't have to work anymore. And hopefully sooner than later, I don't want to work anymore and want an easy life." She would say that if she found the right sugar daddy, she would be a devoted and loyal partner. She says she's already had offers, but she only wants to stick to one. And she mentioned a widowed man who is a good and rich guy who has one leg, but that might be a challenge. And there have been people that criticizing her that her seeking a sugar daddy is a form of prostitution. She says it's not. It's a full relationship. And she says, I think those that think of who's prostitution, they're getting the wrong idea. And people are commenting on it. Somebody saying that, well, done for giving her a wider audience reach than she'd have otherwise. Another one saying, is she providing Meals on Wheels? Because of the fact that she decided to go into a over 55 community in a very affluent neighborhood of Mosman, this north shore of Sydney, Australia, and trying to go that route. Now, she calls herself the bikini tradie, and she recently put out a video talking about the double standards between men who can work shirtless on building sites on hot days and women like her who can't. So she made that point across there, and she's wearing a very skimmy bikini, working as a landscaper apparently, and she decided to make a big thing about it. But again, this is all publicity stunts in the same realm of Bonnie Blue. And of course, we're seeing that somebody else is doing the same idea, and that's what's happening here. So it doesn't really matter what she gets out of this. She's gotten the attention she wanted, and she's gotten some international headlines as a result of this. That's what she was looking for in the first place. Now, we learned more information from Daily Mail about this young lady and what she's all about, because her story is actually much different than who she is. She obviously was an ugly duckling that turned into a swan. She was a small town country girl who dreamed of working with livestock before we ever heard about her. So her real name is Shianne Mason, a former puffer-clad schoolgirl from Findlay, Australia. The population is 2455, and it's in the Riverina region of New South Wales. Now, she was a member of the ag program. She saw her show cows. She played on the school's Australian Rules Football League team. And she was actually given a $1,000 scholarship by the Royal Agricultural Society of New South Wales Foundation because she was noticed and recognized as a proud Indigenous woman, and it was used to help with a tertiary education. Well, that's a pretty cheap scholarship, if you ask me. She believes a career in agriculture will help her shape her community and the future of regional North South Wales. New South Wales. I keep saying that. She's very attractive. You look at her Instagram site, Shianne Foxx. I'll give you the spelling, ShianneFoxx. You'll find her there. And on this Daily Mail article, she was very just homely and young, and you would see her being somebody that might be in agriculture. Just wasn't the kind of girl you thought it was going to be, but she had a glow up, obviously, and things must have changed for her. Well, what about some of these young girls that go through the glow up? And eventually that might be something that will happen to her. What are you going to do about that? So she was in higher education. She dropped out of university 6 months into her high school teaching course. Like Bonnie Blue, same idea. For whatever reason, decided to go and change. She then moved around in New South Wales and then moved into Sydney. And she's been doing casual laboring and landscaping, trying to grow her OnlyFans content on the side until she came up with this headline-grabbing stunt that got headlines. But she got the attention that she wanted. And look, she's a very attractive girl. There's no doubt about it. If you see what we're talking about here, I mean, she's gotten people to go and subscribe to the OnlyFans site. So she's gotten more subscribers to her account. She then put up a video on Instagram asking for forgiveness from the community that she put the mobile billboard out for. And just trying to get people across to go and do that. But again, if somebody else decided to go the route of Bonnie Blue, and you know, it's like, this is becoming more commonplace. I don't know if this is something I really see that we're going to just see more people doing the same thing. More OnlyFans models will be doing the same thing here. They're trying to find their way. And what will they do next to get themselves noticed? Because as an OnlyFans model, they're going to try to find their way in and do something. So we know that Bonnie Blue's been out there and continue to do more now. And now the fact that Bonnie Blue is who she is, there's more about what's being said about her. And people now, there are models out there and there are young women that are being called the next Bonnie Blue. So Bonnie Blue herself, we talked about a couple weeks ago when she was partying with barely legal boys in Cancun. We covered that story 2 weeks ago. Now, in one of the videos she put on her TikTok, she was in a skimpy blue bikini welcoming boys into a room and told the camera, if your boyfriend is let's hope you don't recognize his sliders. And she was posing with boys in various bikinis around pools and on beaches, bragging about betting as many of them as she can. And also making mention about how she wanted to go ahead and go after virgins for the most part. So we went through all that here. And we see the continuation of what she's been doing. And the spring break commentary about what happened to her 2 weeks ago has not stopped. It just continues and goes on. But now there's a thing where we got to the point where OnlyFans models, you're going to recognize them because of what they're doing for themselves to be noticed. Like, it's starting to happen more and more every time we look, because now they want to just go ahead and these stunts are starting to work. So now more women, much like her, are trying to go and do more of this to get noticed. And it's all because of adult type of things. There was a bride actually was referred to as the new Bonnie Blue. She flashed her husband's groomsmen on her wedding day and boasting, if you want to, do it. So a German woman shared a video on social media flashing her knickers through her husband's groomsmen on her wedding day. So she showed her snatch. and showing if anybody wanted to go ahead and go after her while she did it. So she was pulling apart her wedding dress in front of the groomsmen to show what she had underneath. When the new husband laughed at the wife's act, several of the groomsmen looked uncomfortable. And she was giggling hysterically as she was going through the whole point. But this is another thing where it's like, but this is not an OnlyFans model. But people were starting to think that was some kind of stunt that was hers. But now this wedding day is going to be left to be noticed about that. There we go. And there's just things where this adult thing goes off really bad and does not help for people, because now there's an OnlyFans model that's 20 years old that she went to court over child porn charges because she was filming X-rated videos with a girl and selling them on WhatsApp. And now she's facing a 6-year prison sentence for creating photographs and videos of a 16-year-old girl taken with her consent, despite her being incapable of consenting because of her age. She broke down and cried to the judge, and the judge then let her walk free, and she was given a 2-year suspended sentence. And these by the way, I don't even know what the thought is about going after this OnlyFans girl and what she's doing. God, she does not look right. There's something wrong with her. Looking at her pictures, it just doesn't look right. But these are the kind of things that are happening. This is a commonplace now. This is acceptable behavior. Amazing. But it continues here. And what are we thinking about that? Oh, Sophie Rain, who's supposedly virgin, she's now making $43 million right now so far on OnlyFans. Everything is sex related. Of course. But the point is, how many more of these OnlyFans models are going to have to go through this process before we start seeing this is becoming a trend that every girl thinks they're going to be able to go and do in order to get noticed, in order to get subscriptions? Because now that's what's happening. It's the desperation, the gimmick of trying to create clicks. And now you have to do stunts to make that possible. That's the other thing that's just amazing that's being done right now. And it's just not a good thing to go and see out there at all. And there's a lot of things where some of these women that are on these sites, on OnlyFans, they're getting into some things, and there's just a lot of bad deals coming out over here, right? Okay. Another OnlyFans model charged with murdering a client during a BDSM session. A married mother of 3, and she murdered a man during a paid encounter involving BDSM. And then I mentioned Sophie Rain. She says that she's actually a Christian and that her content has not compromised her Christian faith. Anyways, she did a recent interview with Fox News and says that her faith, as she explained, she believes God is happy that she's successful in her career. She says, I have a very close relationship with my church and I love God. I believe that he will forgive your sins for anything, and I think that he's happy that I'm successful. Now, Rain says she doesn't often have time to attend church services in person. She says she still watches the services from her home church in Tampa, even though she lives in Miami. She says, I'll do a little video call because I'm currently living in Miami, but I used to live in Tampa. That's my home church. I love that church so much, and my pastor that is there, I can't listen to another pastor. Quote, it's so nice because I don't have to be there to listen to the word of God. I can listen to it from my phone. Now, she's been able to maintain her Christian faith, she says, despite her line of work, claiming that it all comes down to personal boundaries and morals. She says, quote, having personal boundaries is the biggest thing. You have to have morals or else you're going to get lost in the industry. That's just what happens. It's really easy to listen to what someone says and listen to them and try to follow what they do, but you have to get stay true to yourself. No, come on. So all this right here, everything being done behind closed doors. Or we have these stunts that are going on here on a regular basis. Like Bonnie Blue, I'll guess for the credit. She is now completely open about it. Lily Phillips was around, but we haven't heard much from her lately. She's kind of like dropped off in the whole thing. But like, you know, I know. Why am I talking about this? Why do I continue to talk about these models? It's because things just keep coming up. I don't know. What are you going to do? It's like, this is becoming so popular now in every different way, shape, or form. And it's like, all right. But is this getting into the mind of other women trying to go and do things with her? Right? That's what's going on. The last thing we heard about with Lily Phillips is that she says that she was getting an STI test. And she's worried that she might have gotten a disease. Well, pretty obvious that can happen. But that's the story of OnlyFans. We'll continue to follow along with this. It's just one of those things that keeps coming across. And another billboard, another thing to go out there just to kind of get noticed and things, right? So, yeah, looking for a sugar daddy. How many guys out there, how many of these older guys are going to be willing to go ahead and want to afford or to create the lifestyle for this young girl? That's the other part I want to figure out. Like, who's going to go and do that? Plus, will part of her agreement or her arrangement that she has with a sugar daddy, how many of these guys will go and say, okay, quit putting up OnlyFans content. You need to drop it. Would she actually drop doing her content, making $100,000 a month? Or will she want to just keep the guy for the supplemental income? Like, we see influencers, we see models. They're doing this right now, sugar daddies. We talked about the girl that went out on a shopping spree on Black Friday. We talked about that. We had the video out there about it. This is acceptable behavior. And guys, please do not get caught up in this. Come on now. You can do better. Don't do it. Don't get caught up in this at all. It's just not good. Just not good. An interesting story in India where a cricket player was getting divorced. And in a Bombay High Court, he was divorcing his model dancer wife, Dhanashree Verma, and the cricketer is named Yuzvendra Chahal. So, a pretty popular guy. I'm trying to go and find out what the whole deal about him and how popular he is. But he did something to get his own publicity during this altogether. Now, he's best known as an attacking leg spinner who first attracted attention when he took 34 wickets in the National Under-19 Cooch Behar Trophy in 2009. So, yeah, he's been a long time playing as a very top-ended cricket player. And that's the thing that goes on with him, is he's a very popular champion cricket player in India. So, he and the wife were married in a traditional wedding in December 2020 with family and friends. But then the divorce came in, and the cricket player and his estranged wife had a joint petition for divorce by mutual consent, and issued a decree. After the divorce, the cricket player decided to go out wearing a black t-shirt, wearing "Be Your Own Sugar Daddy." And then on the other side of the shirt, it says, "They come, they go." So he was going after his wife, saying that she basically was treating him like a sugar daddy. So the idea was that this wife was a gold digger in the 5 years they were together, almost 5 years. And the thing is, when they decided to go through divorce, there's actually a 6-month cooling off period that has to be done according to the Marriage Act of Hindu. So he had to wait a while to get the divorce done and go through the process of doing the divorce. But it was a joint decision to go and do it. So obviously, I don't know if it was much of like where he... Well, here's what's going on here is that he's committing to give permanent alimony to this young lady for a long time. Let's see what this actually goes into. So according to what they're saying here, it's 4 crore 75 lakhs, which looks like she's going to get paid regularly. And this looks like, I guess, every month, $600,000 American, something like that. It's a lot of money the lady's getting. And that's what he's going to have to go through that. But he decided to go and take a jab at her on the way out for paying all that money for permanent alimony. But he was smart not to have kids with her. So there's that. It's been a light week this week, folks. What can I say? There wasn't much to go along with this, but we got one more story I'll go and bring up that I wanted to go and pull out here. Just thought might be good to go and bring up. And that's the ongoing issues of Meghan Markle and Blake Lively. So The Cut actually puts the story out and talks about that. We're now seeing the glorification of these two actresses. Well, Meghan Markle was, but the thing is right now is that Meghan Markle is putting out some more content out there. a new Netflix lifestyle series with Love Meghan. And social media has called Meghan Markle the biggest phony on the planet, a narcissistic sociopath, the human equivalent of a knockoff handbag, shiny until you spot the loose stitching. And now Meghan Markle is being compared to Blake Lively and her ongoing civil lawsuit with Justin Baldoni, the director of It Ends With Us. You might remember we talked about that story. And it's funny how there's like a whole market right now of TikTokers, gossip vloggers, just going after Blake Lively on a regular basis. And in this story, they say that Meghan Markle and Blake Lively have skated through life without facing any real consequences, which is why they feel entitled to manipulate and bully others. Both of them have been allowed to have unchecked egos and a complete lack of accountability to harm those around them. They're trying age-old techniques to win people over, but they forgot that people have access to social media now and can see the truth. They don't get influenced by social media facades. And then this story from The Cut gives an interesting story here that why are so many convinced that these women are dishonest and why are they so angry about it is because they simply find them irritating, or are they just susceptible to social media smear campaigns? Is it really so hard to believe that misogyny is so deeply ingrained in our culture that even beautiful, wealthy women can suffer from its effects? Maybe they just see something in Markle and Lively's stories they just don't want to see. So you can't defend these two women for their behavior. But these are women that many other women will look up to. Remember that. Look at all these wonderful role models we have. Shianne Foxx, Bonnie Blue, Lily Phillips on the OnlyFans side, or women like Meghan Markle and Blake Lively. Complete delusions. All of them. They might be weighed for their beauty, their youth, but other than that, they're just ugly on the outside. They're just ugly on the inside. And we are seeing more of this. And also, it's funny where it's independent women that are wealthy and make money, and the way they decide to act. No wonder we have guys that are being passport bros more often. And no wonder we have more guys that want to just go out and say, we're not even going to deal with American women or women that are even on these kind of sites that are just, they're glorifying themselves for attention. Because now it's just even worse than just attention seeking, status seeking, clout chasing. It's even more than that. It is another level of something else when it comes down to it. So keep that in mind, folks. Guys, notice these signs from all these different women and what they decided to do. The attention seeking that they're getting, even if it is a publicity stunt. You don't want to be near these women. Because honestly, they are another level of being depraved and debaucherous.